You guys are going to love this opening. Ready? I want you to think about this quote. What it means in your life, applying it to yourself, to people you know, in your work, in your personal life, if you're a law enforcement officer, to your fellow co-workers, in the military. The quote is this: when the game is on the line, the great ones always want the ball. Now that is my own interpretation of Gene Hackman's line in the pretty awesome movie The Replacements with Keanu Reeves. Awesome sports movie, I love it. Now in the movie, I think the quote goes something more like this. Comes up to the coach, says, "I want the ball." And Gene Hackman says, "Winners always do." And then my interpretation is, when the game is on the line, the great ones always want the ball. What does that mean? Let me take you back to an Air Force story. And this will definitely weave into this GRV on the Diamondback DB9. I guarantee it. But in my Air Force career, we would have what were called ORI inspections. They were a big deal. It's when basically an outside inspector would come into your unit and they would give you check rides. Oftentimes you'd have simulated war conditions, sometimes simulated chemical attack conditions, and you're still flying. You're still accomplishing the mission. So my aircraft at the time was KC-135. And so you'd be flying approaches, taking off, landing in full chemical ensemble. Plus applying all the procedures for, I'll have to generalize it, just chemical warfare conditions, certain attack responses, and you had to do them perfectly. So you're getting evaluated. What I found in my Air Force career, and it wasn't just ORI, there were a number of other inspections that would take place under these simulated wartime conditions, and actually in wartime conditions even more so. And I would see a lot of the big talkers in my Air Force unit and people I knew in other squadrons suddenly become non-available when these inspections rolled around, especially in my guard unit. So we really need our good pilots to step up and represent the unit well, and to show the inspectors that my squadron, the 97th ARS in Fairchild, and the 191st in Salt Lake City, that we know what the hell's going on, that we're good, we're professional, we're ready, and we can be signed off on a multifaceted wartime mission. This is no joke. It's a big deal. It's mission certification with certain missions that we were tasked. Important ones. National security missions. And guys that I knew that were big talkers or acted like they're Joe Cool pilots suddenly became non-available, meaning they basically ran away because they were scared. Think about the quote again. When the game's on the line, the great ones always want the ball. Now, in terms of flying, I don't know if I was a great one, but I never ran away. In my unit, especially the 191st, I always stepped up. I raised my hand, I made availability, and I was like, I want a check ride. You give me the most gnarly inspector, the toughest mission, I will do it. Ain't scared. Ain't scared. Bring it. Bring it. Yeah, but you're going to be in chemical warfare gear. You got to deploy here. You're getting up. Your show time's 4 in the morning. I'm like, bring it. To me, I looked at it as an opportunity to show the inspector that, again, we're solid. We know the mission. We can get it done. And maybe in your civilian life, you can really relate to that. And I think it plays in sports. It plays in our jobs. And that is why oftentimes in my tabletop reviews and my philosophy videos, I remain unimpressed with the blowhards, with the people that talk big and they don't deliver. I've seen it for decades in my military service, and these guys piss me off. The biggest talkers, the ones that strut the loudest, that chew gum, roll up their flight suit sleeves, are the biggest wusses. And I'm just saying, that's the way it has panned out. Meanwhile, me and a very small core of pilots in the squadron are shouldering the load. That we're stepping forward, we're taking the check rides, that we're taking the heat and putting ourselves on the line to be evaluated. I think if you are secure in your skill set, if you're secure, in this case, in the quality of your product, you want the ball. You want the ball. You just say, hey, coach, give me the ball. I'll run with it. Hey, give that gun to Nutnfancy. Let them evaluate it. We ain't scared. You see the tie-in? This is a gun I've been trying 5 years to get, the DB9. In 2011, I reviewed the DB380, and it did not go well. I have at least 2 videos out there, 5 years old, on the DB380. And while I found it to be extremely accurate, perhaps the most accurate 380 semi-automatic pistol I've tested, it was totally unreliable. And it still is on a non-recommend, and I recommend you never spend your money on that gun. We heard from Diamondback back in 2011, and initially they were pretty cool. They were like, hey man, you know, we'll get you a replacement. And even back then, I mean, things run a little bit differently now in TMP. I don't have time, bandwidth, or honestly interest to give a manufacturer time and time again to do a do-over, to do a mulligan. I mean, get your product right. I mean, I'm tired of these products coming to my table and going out in the field and sucking so bad. And oftentimes online, here in BoobTube, you're not going to hear about it. You're going to hear the fluff, the talking points of the manufacturers from other gun tube channels that it's frequent because they have a relationship with that gun manufacturer. They want to continue to get guns from them in whatever fashion or form. And so oftentimes it's fluff. And I just don't do it that way. I mean, I serve my subscribers. I mean, that's who I serve, and I give you the product I want to have. Well, back in 2011, we attempted to contact, get a replacement DB380, later a DB9 when it came out, and suddenly it was crickets from Diamondback. Crickets. No support whatsoever. They did not contact us. They did not give us a loaner gun. Tactical Doodle contacted them multiple times on behalf of the project and said, hey, you know, we'd love to try the DB9. Maybe it does better. We'll give it an absolutely fair shot. And basically, Diamondback ran away. How you like that intro? They did. I mean, we finally gave up. There's another company like that. FMK did the same thing. And there's been some others run away. And the first thing, and I already know why they don't want me to get a gun, because they know they don't control my voice. They know they don't control the tabletop. They know I just honestly don't care about, you know, saying the truth. And here we go again with another negative tabletop review, the DB9. And now it really comes full circle, and I understand why they wanted to keep it out of my hands. But it's on my list, and so thanks to the gun store at the top, I was able to get a hold of one personally. Thank you, because they made it possible. And this is a personal gun, actually, of a certain dude there. So he's like, you want to review the DB9? I was like, yeah, I've been wanting to review it for 5 years. Cool, take my personal gun. It was Wyatt. It's awesome. So here we are with the tabletop review, and it ain't good. And I have to start off with reliability. Actually, why don't we start off with trigger pull on this gun? Okay, so let's check the trigger out. And he's got a carry clip on it. Cool. He put that on himself. Let's see how that trigger pulls here. Wait. Oh, that's right. It broke during testing. How's that for kicking off the GRV? Shooting it at the indoor range. I was planning at least 2 outings, indoor range, and then we'll go out to the desert, maybe do a little running gun, maybe static gun. Couldn't get through the test, and so the trigger broke. It's not pulling at all. What's the problem? Who cares? It's busted. I'm not Mythbusters. It's not my job to take it apart, troubleshoot it, replace parts, send it back. Done doing that. I have taken it apart. You'll see on video of me doing it at the range. I'm looking inside. It's probably a busted spring would be my guess. And so I'm just shaking my head. I'm like, oh my gosh, deja vu. Oh, Diamondback, please, can't you put together a gun? And the reason it's so sad is because these super compact guns that Diamondback does hold such promise. I said that with the DB380. I was like, the form factor is like a mini Glock. A mini-me Glock. Granted, they pretty much take a lot of design influence from Glock. They copy Glock in a lot of ways. I said that back in 2011. But there's other guns that do it too. Glock is super successful. And they copy them. That goes on everywhere. Goes on in here on YouTube all the time. And here, you know, we have a gun that holds a ton of promise, but unfortunately it's just not living up to it. I did search around online on the DB9, did some research, and I was curious to see if these reliability problems were rampant. And I pretty much come away with a mixed bag. Do you guys see that a lot when you click around online? Yeah. One guy said, oh, I pocket my DB9 every time I go out. I love the gun. I'm like, okay, have you shot it? Especially with multiple loads. A lot of guys are saying ammo finicky, and then next thing you know, the excuse patrol shows up and goes, well, you're just using the wrong bullets. It's got a short chamber. If you use the right rounds, I don't really like the excuse patrol. It's because they're usually guys that have bought the gun and they're trying to justify their own purchase, and that's excuse patrol, or they're brand aficionados. And so if you talk bad about a certain brand, they're going to roll in and try to fault your logic and attack you. That's excuse patrol. That you did something wrong. It was you that caused it. Sound familiar? Yeah. And one guy said the front of his slide snapped off, this portion right here retaining the recoil spring. A lot of failures. And by the way, before the trigger broke, there were multiple failures. Failures to feed. And it wasn't going well prior to the trigger busting. A lot of FTFs. And people say, well, all you got to do is go and polish that chamber. All you got to do is let it, excuse patrol again, is let it break in. And I haven't found this to be the case with DB firearms so far, these ultra compact ones. For instance, out of that DB380, we pushed hundreds of rounds. So it was well broken in, and it's still just never flew right. So I would say it's a non-recommend. I have to say that in the track record, at least in even abbreviated testing, indoor testing, not even desert dirty testing, is abysmal. It's awful. I wish I had good news for you. I would like nothing better that we review the DB9 and it rocks and it rolls. Multiple loads, no failures, super accurate. But that wasn't the case, and I don't enjoy doing this. I really don't. It's unfun for me. But at the same time, damn, I ain't gonna lie about it. I can't. I just wonder what the testing protocol is like out there. You know, or what do they do? I mean, are they really running these guns, or I don't know, man. I just, geez, it just freaks me out. I know for a fact there's a lot of manufacturers that don't. They just, there's you know, they just put product out there and they don't test them. You know, you need to have a very distinct and thorough testing protocol for your firearms companies. I mean, I can't believe I have to say this. It's your job to do it. We're talking not a couple hundred, but thousands of rounds. And you should have it on your website, the results certified by a third party of that testing. There are some that do it. I was clicking on POF's page and they have something about there on their page. It's like, yeah, this is our durability testing and we stand behind it. I was like, rock on. Everybody should be doing that. Third party, can't be part of your company entity. It can't be another boob tuber. Because there's so many secret relationships now between YouTubers and manufacturers that you just don't know what to believe. You see their videos embedded on their page. You're like, oh, is this guy part of their team? Is he giving an objective review? Chances are he isn't. You're going to get that here. Here's the DB9's accuracy, and I'll tell you, it was pretty excellent. Look at that, dude. Out of a subcompact gun. So there is some good things I have to say about it. Look at that group. That was just amazing. This is 8 yards of me standing. I'm showing you the footage. I mean, it's just like the DB380. I mean, it's extremely accurate. And then things went south. I mean, that's a great group. This is shooting some hollow point, Remington JHPs, and then the trigger broke. I have to discontinue the test. Jeez. Yeah, I'm bummed about it. I'm bummed about it. I mean, field strip's just like a Glock. I'm not going to go through it. I guess I'll go through SAW design and ergos here in a sec. And POUs here in a sec. I guess in order for me to do this, though, I have to pretend that it's reliable. I think it would probably be a good ankle carry gun because it is so small. And one of the guns you saw off in the side, I'll bring it in now, it's competitive options, a SIG P938. So let's see how that stacks up. Well, dang, they're about the same size. If you're talking about a great one always wanting the ball, the P938 says bring it. Watch my review. Bring it. No jams whatsoever. Completely reliable. What a great subcompact, albeit 1911 carry subcompact 9. Now, it is thick. It's a thicker gun than a DB9 for sure, but dimensionally otherwise, it's about the same. And it is heavier, a lot heavier. DB9 is only 13 ounces. B230, 938's more. But, you know, deep carry gun would be a good one. Or primary for civilian carry gun. It is a major caliber. It's 9. I totally recommend that over a 380. How many 380 auto pistols have you seen me review in the last few years? How about none? It's because I don't want to bring them to you guys recommending them. I know you guys often like carrying mouse guns. I will show you one. I just posted on the B channel a TMPer who passed the gear check. Really good dude. And I laughed because he had total mouse gear. Had a 380, had a mini micro multi-tool, small knife, but he had everything. Small flashlight, and he passed, even though they're small. That's what I see a lot. Primary home defense gun, no, it doesn't have a rail. It's small. It's hard to shoot well. I don't know if it's great for ladies or recoil-sensitive shooters. It's kind of snappy. Ergonomically, in firing it, I didn't experience a slide bite that a lot of people did. And I purposely ran it without gloves to see if I'd get, you know, my web cut. It was fine. And the owner says he experienced a slide bite with it. So it depends on your grip and your hand size, I guess. I'll leave POU there. I'm not much more excited to continue than that. There's no, I'm talking SAWC design ergos. There's no last shot hold open with this gun. That is a downside. It is small. We've discussed that already. It is an upside. Some people talk about trigger finger slap. I didn't see that, but for the PF9, a lot of guys are complaining about it. I've never experienced it on PF9. I can't really talk about the reset. I didn't think it was that good. I didn't think trigger was that good. It's kind of like a double action only. The sights, some guys were complaining about the sights. I actually like the sights on the DB9. They're pretty excellent, and I don't know if he replaced these. Maybe he did. These are trits. You can kind of see them glowing there. Not super bright. Probably stock. You got a squared off trigger guard. That's good. AK Glock. You have a small magazine release. I'm not sure if it's reversible for you lefties or not. Decent backstrap. The stippling on the frame is okay. Firepower is 6+1. So it's 1 round off on its major competitors. It has a Glock-like slide, very blocky. And it looks like a mini tiny Glock, like I said. Cool. So firepower we talked about. I wish I could get higher energy for this. I can't. That takes us to accessories. What would I do to change the DB9? Well, I would make it reliable. That's the first thing I would do. And I honestly, after testing a DB380 and DB9, I don't know if these guns are fixable. I just don't. They may be too small. I mean, there comes a point of diminishing returns where if you're going to do a powerful cartridge for this size, you know, maybe you can't make it reliable. There are some that I think do a better job of it, like the Robar R9, but that's like a, what, $1,100, $1,200 gun? That's ridiculous. I'm not paying that. The other competitive options I'm going to show you, much less, and they're equally excellent. The only thing is they're just going to be a little bit bigger than this gun, a little bit heavier. And most you guys, for you guys carrying major calibers, you don't care. You dig it. Other accessories, you know, magazines. I'm sorry, I'm just so unenergetic about this. You can get the this clip here, someone makes it, don't care who makes it. But you could put that clip on it, which by the way, it loosened during firing. Had to like tighten it twice. So it needs to be Loctited there, Dub. Big time. I bet you after he gets this gun back, he's going to pitch it. W's just going to say bye-bye to it. I told him in text, I was like, dude, that's a POS. I'd get rid of it. Just saying. It is. You could get universal holsters that fit it. Probably the same holster that fits a 938 suede variety like this. Boom. Would fit the DB9. As far as specific hybrid holster, I haven't even tried this. Maybe it doesn't. Well, it kind of does. Not great. This is a great holster though. These Galco suede, if you can find them. Oh, I bet you it wasn't fitting in because of the pants clip. That's okay. I mean, the retention sucks on it. But you're not going to find a hybrid holster for it. Not that I know of. Maybe there is something out there. Nice accessories, whatever. P938, that's definitely an alternative. It's super small. It is thicker, like I said. Speaking of hybrid holster and a competitive option that dominates this gun. And people complain about this gun's reliability, and it's head and shoulders above the DB9. The Kel-Tec PF9, yeah, I still have one. And there's a hybrid holster. This might be everyday carry holster. This navy blue PF9. It's super light. It's like this. It's like 12.7 ounces, so it's basically the same weight, and it's 7+1. This one's hot because it's in system. All these pistols I'm going to show you are hot. They're coming out of system, so they're everyday carry pistols for rotation, both as a cast member, testing holster systems, and crew members, and just our own personal defense. That's a good looking PF9, by the way. The matte chrome slide, navy blue slide. They only made that for a little while. I don't think you can get that coloration anymore. I love it. You know, is it the best pistol out there? I've already talked about that. I don't have to go over it again. Much improved now is a Ruger LC9S. This is in, I think, another everyday carry holster hybrid. But this is what I'm talking about. You're not going to find this style holster for that. And it's so small, I don't know if it'd work, you know, because how much grip is showing with a DB9 coming out of one of these systems. That'd be a lot less. The LC9, you can get a full grip on this before you present it, dude. Right? What load do I have in here, by the way? Oh, the discontinued and much beloved CCI 115 JHP. Dude, I wish they'd bring that back. I don't think CCI makes that anymore. That's sad. That's another thing that makes me sad. By the way, the watch for the review is a Luminox Diver. Sick. Link in the bottom. Great sights on the LC9. It's you know, not the lightest gun, but it's not much heavier than this gun. I'll tell you what, it just rocks and rolls. I mean, you talk about a gun that I don't think we had any stoppages at all on this one, or its predecessor. The Ruger LC9S is pretty excellent. It's got a couple quirks. I mean, I wish I had a squared off, you know, trigger guard. How about the Springfield XDS? He's another crew member. We carry this one all the time. Well, look, I wrote a weight fully loaded. It's not light, 25.5 ounces. I'll tell you what, you want to make a hit at freaking 50 yards, the XDS is up for it. So is its almost identical looking Walther PPS, which we kind of resurrected here in TMP. That's a great gun. Bigger, heavier for sure. How about the Glock 43? Here's a crossbreed holster. That is an amazing gun, and all the floor plates. I think I'm running a follower that allows 7 rounds, so I'm full 8 rounds in this one. That's like my preferred carry gun right now. It's small, it's light. Let's compare it against the DB9 dimensionally. Here we said this is like a micro mini-me Glock. It is. It's tiny. Its slide is even smaller than a Glock 43, as you can see. There's your kind of side view. And yeah, the DB9's small. Great. It's got to work though. Doesn't matter if it's, you know, small, cool looking. If it doesn't work, it doesn't count. And what else do I have on the table? Oh, I already showed you the PF9. I'll put that out there just to represent right there. And for you guys that like mouse guns, I mean, you can run an LCP, you can run a Kel-Tec P380 reviewed, or even a tiny little Kel-Tec P32. It's a lot more reliable than this gun. Granted, it's a 32 ACP, but it'll go boom when you pull the trigger. That's kind of important, I think. Dang it. I'm bummed, man. Now, could you get this gun working? So let's say you have a DB9 and you ship it back to Diamondback, who's a relatively small maker down in Florida. I honestly, from what I know, I wouldn't trust the customer service. I mean, I've just heard so many bad reports of, hey, my gun didn't come back. It'd be great if I guess it would be kind of great if they'd fix it, bring it back, and then guys saying, yeah, my gun's 100%. I say kind of because you really shouldn't have to do that. Shipping off a pistol is very expensive. You have to ship it blue label. It's a pain in the butt, and it has to go via common carrier, and it just is annoying. Why do people have to do that? Keltec has good service. If you have a problem with the Keltec firearm, I know for a fact, send it back, and you come back, and chances are that Keltec's going to be running. What do they do to it? I don't know. Polish the feed ramp, whatever. Should have been right. Yeah, it should have been right. You don't have to send it back to manufacturer. 43, LC9S, SIG P938. You don't have to send that back. All these guns you don't have to send back. Maybe occasionally you'll hear a PF9 has to go back. There's other competitive options. Super Quick, Kimber Solo. Talked about the Robar R9. It's unrealistic. It's goofy looking too. I hate that gun. Beretta Nano. I hate that gun too. You'll never see a review on that gun. Subject to change. So, anyways, DB9. Finally, 5 years later. Manufacturers, dude. I mean, if your product's so awesome, you should be welcoming a review in the Nutnfancy project, because you'll know your product, your gun will stand an honest, thorough test, and it's going to mean a lot, actually, because people come here because they trust my voice. They know there's no bullshit involved, and they know, hey, you know, it's not on any payroll. The gun's good, and if you've bought the gun, it's going to give you a nice feeling, going, hey, you did well. You know, you did your research. You got a really good gun. Unfortunately, the DB9, and I don't know if this will change, has completely missed the mark.